it has become apparent to me that I really need to disclose my sources without being too specific, because I have sources that very few people have about what's going on here, there, and everywhere, especially at this time of Israel. I have a friend, former business partner, who was a member of the Israeli Defense Forces. And I'll just say his name is Ben, and he lives in Las Vegas. And we've done a lot of work together. He has PTSD like you wouldn't believe. I was doing some welding, and you know how oxyacetylene torches will pop when you light them. And mine popped, and next thing I know, he's running, just running. And I called him back. I go, "What's up? What's wrong?" And he explained to me that he'd been in firefights where a lot of the people that he was with were burned to death. Then there's another one by the name of Sharon. I'm not going to tell you much about him. I have done Passover with him and ate Seder trays with his whole family, both families. And he is Jewish. He's the head of all the shipping and receiving in Israel. Okay? Then another friend I have, which you've heard me talk about before, is Lieutenant Colonel Roy Potter, former Lieutenant Colonel. And Roy has his bachelor's degree in criminology, his master's degree in history, primarily ancient Hebrew, okay? And he understands very clearly many of the things that are going on in Israel today. So I have other good connections to a lot of different things. Interesting enough, I have a second cousin who is a special agent in the FBI. We don't talk, but he has done things that for my family, and that's all I'll say about that. So I go way back with a lot of connections. My dad, my father, at one time was the most decorated man from World War II in the state of Nevada. He had 6 arrowheads for amphibious landing on enemy-held terrain, Leyte, Luzon, Corregidor. And that's just a brief overview. I spend 8 to 10 hours a day in research. And that research is scanning social media, YouTube, X, TikTok, Instagram, looking for information. There's a lot of information you can glean from social medias. Forgive my voice. It's gone. And phone calls. I call different people and talk to them. And we share information, share ideas, what's going on. So I don't blame my social media friends, primarily Facebook, for not grasping, at least immediately, the things that I try to share. But I feel in my responsibility to give you the truth, okay? Because there's so much happening today that is unbelievable, especially with Israel. Israel is probably, well, I'm going to come out and they are the biggest fraudsters against America ever. And a lot of people don't understand where these people came from. The leadership. I'm talking the leadership. I'm not talking about the average Israeli. But I do hate calling Israel, because it is not Israel, okay? Like I said many times before, Israel was taken captive like 732 BC, 735 BC, something like that. And it's a ploy. It's a ploy to lure the Christians in, because we are a primarily Christian nation, and to take advantage of us. They are parasites. That government cannot exist without the American voter, okay? And so Remember this. Israel, as we know it today, used to be a land called Palestine. And it was purchased by the Rothschilds from the United Kingdom after World War I. It's called the Balfour Agreement. The Rothschilds are the one that controlled the banking industry in the world. Well, not the world, but America, the United Kingdom, and a whole lot of other countries. And they are evil to the core. These are Satanists. They worship Satan in all respects. Human sacrifice, child sacrifice, pedophilia, you name it. A wholesale slaughter, murders. They're the ones who purchased Palestine and then turned it into something entirely different. And we're seeing the fruits of that today. So they have such a stranglehold on the United States. They got our president. He's compromised. They got something on him, and I know what it is. I mean, it doesn't take rocket science to figure this out. Anytime you totally abandon your presidential platform to favor Netanyahu in the modern day Israel. Okay, I got off track a little bit there. What I want to say is I don't blame you for not being on top of all this information, but my responsibility is to bring that information to you. I've been doing this kind of stuff for a long, long time. It was no accident I ended up at the Bundy Ranch. I knew what was going on there, okay? I knew the government was overstepping its bounds as part of his, which is systematic corruption. It wasn't by accident I ended up at the Malheur Refuge. Again, I could see what the government was doing systematically. And now I find myself fighting on so many different fronts. It's hard to keep up with it. It really is. So I have to prioritize. One of the other fronts I'm fighting on is the pedophiles in Utah, which is unfreaking believable how bad it is. I've met with victims. I've met with investigators. I actually met with two of the prosecutors, David Lee Hamblin, and how it's all tied together with David Levitt, but with Mike Levitt, and it's looking more and more like the sheriff too of Utah County. I forget his name. Anyhow, so yeah, thank God I have the time to do this. And you know, if we don't fight, it'll be on our doorsteps, and we're kind of limited to what we can do. You know, if you look at Book of Revelations and how the Christians were to fight, and the patience that they had, it's called the patience of the saints. And basically, you know, we didn't use firearms or the sword against our neighbor. So I'm doing it as best as I can, as best as I know how. And I do get emphatic. Because this stuff breaks my heart many times, over and over and over, what goes on in this world, this country, Utah. So anyhow, God bless y'all. I love y'all. I fight for y'all every day. Over and out.